Before I begin, I want you to know that what you're about to hear is completely true. I've thought long and hard about sharing this experience, and if you're watching this video today, I believe it's for a reason. This isn't just another story, it's a moment that changed everything for me, and I hope it might give you something to think about too. If this video touches your heart or speaks to you in any way, please give it a like. Your support helps share this message with others who might need to hear it. And if you have your own thoughts or experiences about what happens when we cross over, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Sometimes sharing our stories helps others feel less alone in what they've experienced. What I'm about to share with you happened 4 years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. If you've ever wondered if there's more to life than what we can see, or if you've ever felt a connection to something bigger than yourself, maybe my experience will mean something to you. So get comfortable, and let me tell you about the day that changed how I see everything. My name is David Anderson, and I grew up in a small town in Montana where everyone knew each other. Our town had one grocery store, 2 gas stations, and a diner that served the best apple pie you'd ever taste. I spent 20 years working as a high school baseball coach at Lincoln High, the same school I attended as a kid. Coaching wasn't just my job, it was my calling. I loved seeing those kids' faces light up when they finally mastered a technique they'd been struggling with. Life was pretty routine until that summer day in 2019. I remember it was a Thursday because we always had pizza night on Thursdays. My son Jake was visiting from college, and we were planning to spend the weekend together. That morning started like any other. I woke up early, made coffee, and sat on my front porch watching the sunrise. It was something I did every morning, my little moment of peace before the day began. I'd been feeling tired for a few weeks, more tired than usual. Coaching baseball takes a lot of energy, but this was different. I kept telling myself it was just end-of-season exhaustion. The school year had just finished, and I figured I needed some time to recover. But that morning, as I was getting ready to go grocery shopping with Jake, something felt off. We were walking through the produce section when the lights started looking weird. They seemed too bright, like someone had turned up their intensity. I remember picking up an apple and thinking how strange it looked, almost like it was glowing. Jake was talking about his college classes, but his voice sounded far away, like it was coming through water. "Dad, are you okay?" Jake asked. I wanted to answer, but the words wouldn't come out. The last thing I remember was the apple falling from my hand. Then everything went black. I later learned that I had a brain aneurysm. Jake told me I just collapsed right there in the grocery store. A nurse who happened to be shopping nearby started CPR before the ambulance arrived. They rushed me to St. Peter's Hospital in Helena, about an hour away from our town. The doctor said I was lucky. If it had happened when I was alone at home, I probably wouldn't have made it. What happened next changed my life forever. While the doctors were working on me, I experienced something I still struggled to put into words. The medical records show that I was clinically dead for 4 minutes and 12 seconds. But for me, it felt like hours, and what I experienced was more real than anything I'd ever known. I found myself on our school's baseball field, but it wasn't exactly our field. Everything was bathed in this soft, golden light. The grass seemed to be moving, each blade swaying in perfect harmony. The field held every memory of every game, every practice, every moment of triumph and defeat. I could feel the joy and effort of countless games, as if the emotions were tangible things I could touch. Then I noticed a young man standing at home plate. He was wearing our team's uniform, and he was practicing his swing with complete concentration. I recognized him immediately. It was Tommy Martinez, a student I had coached back in 2012. Tommy had passed away from leukemia during his senior year. Seeing him there, healthy and focused on his swing, made my heart feel like it would burst. I walked over to home plate, my feet making no sound on the dirt. When Tommy looked up at me, his smile was exactly as I remembered it, bright and full of life. "Hey, coach," he said, just like he used to every practice. "I've been waiting to show you something." He pointed his bat toward the outfield, and suddenly it wasn't a baseball field anymore. It was the most beautiful garden I'd ever seen. But this wasn't like any garden on earth. The colors were alive, shifting and changing as I looked at them. The flowers were growing, blooming, and dancing in a breeze I couldn't feel. "This is where we go," Tommy said. "This is where everyone goes when they're done playing the game here." I walked toward the garden, and as I stepped off the baseball diamond, the field dissolved around us. Suddenly, we were standing in the middle of this incredible garden. The beauty of it was overwhelming. The flowers were colors I'd never seen before, colors that don't exist in our world. The air itself seemed to sing with a melody that brought tears to my eyes. Tommy walked with me through the garden. We passed other people, some I recognized, others I didn't. Everyone looked peaceful, content. There was no hurry, no worry, just a deep sense of belonging. Tommy showed me a bench made of what looked like mother of pearl, and we sat down together. "You've been a good coach," he said, but his voice had changed. It held wisdom far beyond his years. "But you're not done coaching yet. There are more kids who need you." Before I could respond, I felt a pulling sensation, like I was being drawn backward by a gentle but irresistible force. Tommy's face began to fade, but his smile remained clear. "Remember the garden, coach," he said. "Remember that it's waiting." The next thing I knew, I was looking up at the harsh fluorescent lights of the ICU. A nurse was adjusting something on my floor, and Jake was holding my hand, his face streaked with tears. The doctor later told me it was a miracle I survived with no brain damage. He said people who experience what I did usually don't recover fully, if they recover at all. I spent 3 weeks in the hospital. During that time, I thought a lot about what I'd experienced. Was it just a dream? A hallucination caused by lack of oxygen to my brain? The doctors would probably say so, but it felt more real than anything I'd ever experienced, and it changed me in ways I'm still discovering. When I returned to coaching that fall, everything was different. Not the field, not the kids, but me. I found myself paying attention to things I'd missed before, like how Ryan's face lit up when he finally got his curveball right, or how Marcus would talk to himself quietly while practicing his batting stance. Each moment became precious, a gift to be treasured. I started keeping a garden at home, inspired by what I'd seen. It's nothing like the one Tommy showed me. How could it be? But when I'm there, pulling weeds or planting new flowers, I feel connected to that experience. Sometimes early in the morning, when the dew is still fresh and the light is just right, I catch a glimpse of something that reminds me of those impossible colors I saw. The experience changed how I coach too. I'm more patient now, more understanding. When a player is struggling, I remember Tommy's words about everyone learning at their own pace. I tell my players that developing skills is like growing a garden. Some flowers bloom early, others late, but they're all beautiful in their own time. Jake says I'm different now, calmer somehow. He's right. The constant rush that used to drive my life has slowed down. I still have bad days, of course. I still get frustrated when we lose games or when parents get too competitive. But those things don't seem as important anymore. What matters are the moments, a player's triumph, a team coming together, a kind word shared. I've told this story to very few people. How do you explain something like this without sounding crazy? But I know what I experienced was real as the baseball in my hand right now. That garden is out there somewhere waiting. Tommy showed me that there's more to coaching and to living than what we can see and touch. Sometimes, when I'm on the field early in the morning, setting up for practice, I think I catch a glimpse of Tommy out of the corner of my eye, still in his uniform, still smiling that bright smile. And in those moments, I know with absolute certainty that while my experience in the garden may have ended, my real journey was just beginning. My aneurysm was 4 years ago now. The doctors say I'm healthy, but they still monitor me carefully. I don't fear what might happen anymore. I've seen what's waiting, and it's beautiful. But I'm in no hurry to get there. There are still lessons to teach, players to coach, and moments to treasure right here. Life goes on, different but richer than before. Every morning, I still sit on my porch and watch the sunrise. But now, sometimes in that gentle morning light, I see hints of those impossible colors from Tommy's garden. And I smile, knowing that even in our ordinary world, there are extraordinary things waiting to be discovered, if we just take the time to look for them. You know, sharing this story wasn't easy for me. It's something deeply personal that I've kept close to my heart for years. But I decided to share it because I believe these experiences, these moments that change us, need to be talked about. If you've been touched by this story, or if it's made you think about your own experiences, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Maybe you've had your own unexplainable moment, or maybe you've just started to notice those little miracles in everyday life. This channel is about sharing real stories that matter, stories that might help us understand there's more to life than what we see on the surface. If you'd like to hear more stories like this, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Share this with someone who might need to hear it today. Sometimes the right story finds us exactly when we need it most. Remember, every sunrise is a new chance to see the world differently. And who knows, maybe you'll catch a glimpse of those impossible colors too.